Hi friends, how are you doing? Thank you for joining me at the Stamps by Me studio for the fabulous Amala. Now, today I want to use, oh darling, how amazing is she? If you join us for chapter 11, then you will know how popular and beautiful Oh Darling is. I'm going to go on to some stamp board with this, and then we're going to create a textured background and do a bit of painting. So, first things first, I am going to stamp her. Now, she is an exquisite stamp. She really, really is. And what I love about this stamp, if you don't want to use the whole of the stamp, it works perfect. Just use the quarter or maybe just offset slightly. You could have like a group of friends, something like that. Very easy. But I'm going to pop her straight in the centre. Now, this area of the stamp, you have to put quite a bit of ink on because it's a full blackout piece. It's not an outline. So please be aware that you do need to layer quite a bit of ink on it. So again, I'm going over the top. You can see straight away how it layers on there. So just make sure you get full coverage of the darker areas. So then I'm coming back up. Just making sure again that that whole bodice piece has plenty of ink on her. There we go. So then we are just going over the top with our fingers. Just trace the stamp with your fingertips. Just pushing down to create that contact. Let's have a look. Now it's beautiful, but I still want more on there. So now I'm going to do another layer, especially on the areas that are full blackout, because they're the areas that need so much more. So again, using the VersaFine over the top. Perfect. Much happier with that. So now we can start painting. I'm going to be using the Himi watercolours. They're just brilliant to use. They're moist watercolours, so they're ready to go every single time. I'm just going to go straight in with the buttermilk pink, which is up here. And I'm just going to make sure that I've got a really clean brush. Just to make sure, because I don't want contamination of colour. So rotate it with the pink, and then we can just start adding our colour. Now when you are doing any of the faces or any of the characters that we have in the Amala range, I always suggest you just get some colour down first of all and then work on the layers after, because it just makes it more simpler. So you just go around, go back in, rotate. And we are just pulling that colour away. Now I think this looks like a shawl going around her, but it doesn't have to be. It's completely up to you. So I'm just adding a little bit of pink again. Just filling in that skin tone first of all. And then obviously a little bit by the hand as well. Very simple. Like so. Now you may not be able to see that very well because it is very light. So now I'm just going to go in with my second layer. We are just following the natural shadows that you get. So that will be on the jawline, under the nose, a little bit at the bottom of the mouth, under the eyes, and then I'll just put a much lighter layer of pink around the eyes. Now I'm going to go into my ochre. Now I'm not washing my brush, I'll just add a little water to it. Now with this now, we're going to come down, again just follow them darker areas. Go straight into some water, rinse your brush. Blend the colours together. So now I'm going back into the ochre. Just pushing that colour away, a little bit of water to exaggerate that colour out. Now I'm going to go back into the tiny bit of cerisi pink, but not too much, and then I'm just going to put in a little bit of blush. So not too much. Now what I tend to do as well is I dry in between my layers. I mean, the lights are very bright in here, so it does saturate the colour, so it probably looks a little bit lighter than what it actually is on screen. But now I'm going in, having that colour across the eyebrows. Come into the ochre again, and we can just add some detail onto that hand. Go into the pink and just blend through. Lovely. So now I'm going to go into this really sort of cerisi pink, absolutely beautiful. And like I said before, it reminds me the way she's standing as if she's got a shawl on. So I'm just going to pop that shawl in now with a little bit of colour. I feel that this stamp has so much going for it, whether it's sassy, whether it's classy, it's beautiful, it's just a must-have, it really, really is. So just follow the line and just exaggerate that shawl. I'm just going to rotate it round so I can do the other side. And again, we're just flowing, so you just follow the outside and just bring it round. Obviously the creases will be your darker areas, so go on a bit heavier there, and then we can just delicately fill the rest of the layers up. I'm going to use some water now. And this is just stamp board that I'm painting on. It's not watercolour, it's not anything special. Beautiful. So now I'm going to go onto hair. I'm going to come back to the face in a second, but right now I'm going to go into this really sunburst yellow, and I'm just going to build up some of this hair. So sunburst yellow, we're going to go darker and a bit deeper of a colour around the hairline. And then we come back round. She's so classy, isn't she? Absolutely beautiful. So now I'm going to go into a lighter yellow that I've just got here, and we are just going to continue filling in that detail. Of course, just drag that previous colour, that deeper colour, out into the edges. So now our face has dried a little bit. I'm going to come back in again with a little touch of pink, and I'm just going to fill in some of those edges and just build up the colour. So of course she needs some beautiful eyeshadow. I'm thinking I might go green. Is that too much? I don't know. I don't care. She's so classy, she can carry it off, can't she? So then again, just that little exaggeration of colour over the eyelid, not too much. And then also pick up a little bit of blue while you've got that green on the brush. And you can actually just pop that eye colour in too while you're there. Now I'm going to go into my red. Now this is like a ruby red. Be careful with this because if your cardstock is wet or saturated wet, it will bleed. So be aware of that. I'm going to start on the edges and I'm doing very delicate fine painting just on the edges of the lips to the middle. Then I'm going to pick up that pink, the same pink that we used for the shawl, so it will coordinate perfectly. I'm also just going to mix a little bit of red and pink, and then I'm just going to highlight, or low light shall I say, some of the darker areas. And if you use quite a dry brush, then you can get some really lovely textures going on in there as well. So again, just follow those lines using your dry brush. There we go. So I'm just going to heat set that quickly to make sure I don't lean on anything. And this is the beauty of these watercolours, because they're moist. You can go back in at any time and layer up, you know, if you want any more colour at all. So now I'm just going to add a little touch of pink just around the edge, just to pull some of this colour together. And I'm just using a wet brush now, just to pull all them areas there together. Very simple. So now I'm going to come over, I'm going to use a little piece of tattered rose and tea dye to create my edge. So here we go. Very, very simple. Just take your tattered rose first of all. Now this is quite a subtle colour, but it is beautiful. And we're not going to go right in yet with this colour until we've blended it through. So I'm just going around the edges again. Now, of course, instead of leaning on your work, use a scrap piece of paper, because especially now we're using distress inks, because otherwise you get fingerprints in them, which is not a good look. Well, not unless that's what you're after. So I'm just going to carry on going round using that pink. Now I'm going to go into the tea dye. Now I'm not cleaning my brush as such, you really don't need to. Because they're on the same tones, it doesn't matter at all. So with this one I'm going on slightly heavier, and you can see how dusty and beautiful the imagery is. Once you get colour on, it's lush. I'm just going to exaggerate that, lovely. So now what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of water work. Pick up some water and I'm simply going to tap round this. Try not to tap actually any water on your main stamp, just around. Now again, just using a wet brush now, I'm just going to go around, so it just brings that colour in slightly. So then I will heat set. So there we go. Now we have stamped and painted our beautiful old darling with that gorgeous background that is so slightly soft but still absolutely stunning. I hope you've enjoyed your time with Amala today. I hope you feel inspired and you are ready to go and create your own amazing projects. Thanks again for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed it. And of course, I will see you next time. Take care of yourself and each other. Take care. Bye.